Welcome back friends, welcome back in another video tutorial from microbiology with Shagnik. Welcome in another video of our enzymology. So today we will going to talk about a very important type of regulation of enzyme, that is feedback inhibition. So first thing, this type of regulation is especially occurring in case of any kind of metabolic pathway that consists of multiple steps. Okay, what will occur when the end product of that multi-step containing pathway is produced in required amount? This end product will going to bind with the first enzymatic reaction that is unique for that pathway. Okay, meaning if we going to use this diagram, it will be very easy for you for understanding. That is, here we are using the synthesis of tryptophan metabolic pathway for understanding the entire concept. The idea is feedback inhibition will occur when the end product, that is tryptophan, is synthesized in required amount. Then the excess amount of tryptophan that is synthesized will be go on and bind with the first enzyme that is unique for that particular pathway. Okay, and now remember another important thing, that in feedback inhibition the enzyme with which that end product will bind is usually a allosteric enzyme. We have already started our lecture series on allosteric enzyme. I hope you can understand that allosteric enzyme are type of enzyme who have more than one binding site, right? So this end product in case of feedback inhibition will bind with those enzyme as a repressor, and this end product will bind with the allosteric side of the allosteric enzyme. Okay, and as I have told you during the discussion of our negative allosteric regulation, that is repressor will bind with the allosteric site of the allosteric enzyme and change the substrate binding site in such a way that substrate can no longer bind, right? That is the how negative allosteric regulation occurs, right? So as a result, what will happen? If tryptophan will bind at the allosteric side of the enzyme 1 as a regulator, it will prevent chorismate, which is the substrate for the tryptophan production, from binding with the active side of the enzyme 1, and as a result X will not be produced, and it will in turn facilitates inhibition of further end product production. So that is the idea of our feedback inhibition. Okay, where the end product of any multi-step metabolic pathway binds with the first unique enzyme that participates in that particular metabolic pathways to stop its production, right? That is the feedback inhibition. Now there is another terminology, that is feedback regulation. Sorry, not feedback regulation. There is another terminology, that is feedback repression. Okay, so feedback repression term and feedback inhibition term is not same. Remember, feedback inhibition is the inhibition of the enzyme activity, and feedback repression is the inhibition of the enzyme synthesis. Okay, feedback repression, what will happen? In feedback repression, the end product, when it is produced more than needed, the excess amount of the end product will bind with the operon responsible for synthesis of the enzymes, especially the first enzyme. Okay, so here the tryptophan operon is the operon that is responsible for synthesis of enzyme 1, enzyme 2 and enzyme 3, right? So tryptophan, when it is produced in more amount than needed, the excess amount of tryptophan will bind with the operator as a co-repressor and prevents the synthesis of the enzymes. Okay, and as a result enzyme 1 cannot be synthesized, and as a result production of X will not happen, and that will facilitates the inhibition of the further production of tryptophan. So that is the idea of feedback inhibition and feedback repression. Okay, remember in feedback inhibition, tryptophan act as a allosteric repressor and bind with the allosteric site of the enzyme 1, inhibiting the binding of the choreosmate, right? And in feedback repression, the tryptophan act as a co-repressor and bind with the operator and inhibits the synthesis of the enzyme. So that is the idea of our feedback repression as well as feedback inhibition. So I hope this video will be helpful for you. Thank you.